story today is Marvin Redpost kidnapped at birth, and we can start the fall chapter 6 today and the end of chapter 7. And the name of the story is A New Car for Mrs. Redpost. And it might be a very fun story. And now we're going to start reading about Wayside School Beneath the Cloud of Doom. And we can start for chapter 17, the best principal ever, and the end of chapter 18, okay? And now are you ready for these two book and two stories? And now here we go! And first you can read Wayside School Beneath the Cloud of Doom. And now chapter 17, the best principal ever. Oh, wait a minute. 1 second. Here. And Mrs. Jules went from the desk to the desk, handing back everyone's history homework. Nice job, Eric, she said to one of the Erics. Well done, Eric, she said to another. You better study the history of the cabbage, she told her third Eric, the imminent task of coming. And the third Eric engineering was the arc ovens. Oh, arc oven was very smart, and he thought he knew all about the history of cabbage. He felt bad when he saw his homework grade. And then he realized that Mrs. Jules had given him Oric Bacon paper by mistake. And it turned out Oric Bacon had tried Oric Fry's homework and Oric Fry had his. And they switched papers. And Mrs. Jules moved on. Nice job, Dee Dee. I know if your paper smelled, but what's strange? She stopped at Jason's desk and shook her head. I was very disappointed, Jason. Sorry, Jason muttered, and he could barely hold his head up. I was up all night reading. Oh, I think Jason read very, very fun books at night, so he couldn't stop. So Jason didn't remember and forget Dee Dee's homework. And Dee Dee brought Jason's homework, but I think Jason didn't get Dee Dee's homework because he was very, 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 very fun at reading at night, so he didn't remember of that. And he will never finish his book, Miss Jules, said Allison. Yeah, because it's very fun. And suddenly the classroom door swung open and black against the wall. Everyone turned to see Mr. Kiswater. Good morning, children, he said. They stared at him. Why? Oh, I think Kiswater was inside very loudly. And it's a class time by now. But Mr. Kiswater was inside very loudly. And it's a class time. It's not a recess time. So it might be not good for the children, so they staring at him. And he had never been inside their classroom before, and Mr. Kiswater loudly cleared his throat. I said, good morning, children. Oh, I think Mr. Kiswater was scared of children because everyone was staring at him. And Mrs. Jules hurried in the front of the room and she waved her hands like an orchestra conductor. Good morning, Mr. Kiswater, the children said in Association. The principal smiled. What's all these? He said, pointing to the 27 plastic corners streaked against the wall. Toenails, said Paul. Also fingernails, added Liesel, so Prepical didn't think the class was weird. Well, I'm glad to see you're doing important work here, said Mr. Kiswater. Would you like to donate a toenail or maybe a fingernail? Asked Mrs. Jules. And Mr. Kiswater curled his fingers. He exclaimed his nails. No, I'm still using my mind. And anyway, that's not why I'm here. I'm looking for a student to bang on Friday, and I figured I'd stood at the top of the morgue and wait down until I find someone willing to, and every arm shot up in the air. Calls of "Picking me! Oh, oh, oh!" and could be heard from around the room. "Oh," said Mr. Kisvetta, "I guess it won't take as long as I thought." Me, began BB, scratching his arm high. "No, me, argued Dee, and it's impossible to know where Mr. Kisvetta was looking, and he wore metro sunglasses even indoors. Joy had both hands raised, doubling on a chance of beginning peaked. "You're the best principal ever!" and she called out. And Mr. Kisvetta had turned. "You!" he bloomed, and pointing his finger, and everybody groaned except for one person he had chosen. "Me?" Stappen said Mickey. "You?" said Mr. Kisvetta, sounding something surprised. "Yes, you," he declared. "I chose you, didn't I? And I don't make mistakes." And he stirred dolled Stappen and placed his big hands on both sides of Stappen's hat and leaned over. "Be in my office on Friday at 2 minutes before 3 o'clock, he ordered. "You will get one, and only one. Sing on my mallet, so you better not miss. You must hit a very candy up going at exactly 3 o'clock, a second early, not a second late. There are no second chance." And Stappen's right leg was shaking, and the principal straight up handed out the door. "Goodbye, children." And he stopped. He waited. He folded his arm across the chest, and Mrs. Jules waved her arms in an orchestra conductor. "Goodbye, Mrs. Kisvetta." And everyone sat together. "Oh, not Mrs. Kisvetta, Mr. Kisvetta." As soon as principal was gone, everyone curled around Steppen's desk. "You're so lucky," said Jason. "It's the best thing that ever happened to our class," said Johnny. "You'd better not to blow it," said Joy, "or else no kid will ever get to ring the going again." "Can you even left the mallet?" asked Terrace. And Steppen didn't say anything. He hadn't heard a word they said, because Steppen didn't want to do that work, but Mr. Kisvetta chose Steppen, so Steppen was just, and some hearing was not hearing because he's very, 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 very feeling happy or not good. So he didn't hear anything. I think so. And it was as if the moment Mr. Kisvetta had said, "You!" Oh, I think Mr. Kisvetta was so scary, so Steppen didn't say anything because it's too scary. And someone had blanked a going inside Steppen's head. Going, oh,